Farron Bradford, what y'all think of the college football playoff expansion? Love it. That's how it should be. Winner of the Big Five, all should be guaranteed locks, and then you take the rest at large. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, more opportunities are dope. Definitely like that. Worried about like some of the non-TV stuff, just like the athlete stuff. But as a whole, though, I do think this is a dope situation. Though, number one, when you talk about automatic bids for the Power Fives, great. But I also think of teams like JMU from the Sun Belt.
If you go undefeated, you actually have a chance.
Exactly. This opens up those type of doors as well. And as a team that's not Power Five, that's what you want, is just opportunity. It's like, yo, who knows? Maybe you could knock them off. No different when we talked about UCF beating teams, Boise State when they beat Oklahoma. Like, we don't know if you could do it in repeat process, but at least get an opportunity. And I do feel like with the expansion, you will get some of those matchups. I also like, I'm not sure how accurate it was, but some of the setups were showing where you would still have your top 4 seeds get a bye week, correct? Like that first.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw. And I was like, I like that because my concern is with the amount of extra games you could potentially run into. How does that work with these players in their recovery? Also, the seniors, right? Or the guys who are getting ready for the league. The further you go in there, the more games you have, the more potential risk. You think about a George Pickens, right? Tearing ACL. You think about, what was the kid out of Bama that tore his ACL last year? Mechie.
He did get something happened with him, but Williams.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
Jameson Williams. I don't know if is his last name Williamson or Williams. Am I that much of an idiot?
Jameson Williams. Yeah, he was the one. He tore his in the semifinal. So it's like, I think of those and I'm just like, man, this is one of them games where injuries happen. Like, you're not going to see a football game especially at the professional level, where nobody gets hurt, or even collegiate where nobody gets hurt. So it's like, that also adds to it. So I just wonder, like, man,
maybe they could figure out a way to take out insurance on themselves before those games too.
Insurance, a lot of dudes take insurance out, but it still doesn't have the same effect of you actually making it to the league, living out your dream, and you potentially going out there and getting the bag. Or what about that person that wasn't the big time recruit and they get hurt, but they could have been a guy who develops and then becomes the guy that gets the bag, right? Because we talk about how the NFL level is dudes that were 4th rounders that turned into great players. Dak Prescott, right? He's like, man, this dude was a 4th rounder. So coming out of college, he might not have had that situation like that, but then he gets in the league, right situation. So I just think of that part. Then the last part, and everybody's going to be how they want to feel about it, is the school part of it, bro. Because it's like they actually still do have classes and tests and stuff. And I know for some of the athletes, it's not as important. You have some of them where it's just easier for them, right? But I know from my personal experiences, I wasn't a guy who majored in a major that was, in that vein. I was political science. Studying was a little bit more difficult. Some of the testing was a little bit more difficult. And I just think of like those type of players, like, man, you could put them in a bind. But like I said, that's the boring stuff. The dope part is the money that's going to come into these universities, the awareness that's going to come around these players and their stories, because the more they're on TV, the more you get to hear about, hey, man, this guy's overcome this, but he's also doing this in the community. This guy's double majoring in this, and he also has a aspiration to do that. So it's like, I like it. Yeah. But like I said, it's just a little bit layered for me.
The gift and the curse of college football right now is that every week matters. There's so much importance to every game. And there's like an ebb and a flow. There's a storyline to it. But the curse is, for a team like Pitt, you lose one game, the season could be over for your national championship aspirations. Yeah. So I think you still have the neediness of winning every game by expanding it to 12. Yeah. But you still have the opportunity where it's not one single game ruins your season. If Pitt loses an out-of-conference game next year, actually, no, they're implementing it in 2024, right? Yeah. But we'll just use next year for an example. If we lose an out-of-conference game next year, okay, cool, we can still win the ACC. Yeah. Even if you get a loss in the ACC, as long as you get to the ACC championship game,
you got a chance.
You can still win it. Yeah. So every game still matters, but it's not this life or death thing where, man, we're 4 weeks in, the season's over.
Now, I've seen actually people complaining about that, though. They like that whole one loss. I seen it was Michigan fans complaining. They was like, man, this isn't fair. What if, you finally, it doesn't matter now about the Michigan-Ohio State game. That's not going to be the end-all be-all for us. It's like, bro, do y'all really want it to be the end-all be-all, though? I don't know.
What about meeting again?
That's
in
what
the
I'm saying.
playoffs?
Like I
Isn't
kind of like
that cooler.
Like I think of Georgia and Bama. Like,
or what if they met again
them.
in the championship?
Yeah, I'm like Georgia and Bama done that where it's like, oh, regular season, and then they spin a block, and now it's like, oh, the stakes are even higher. And now you wonder, can they beat them again? Like it's a lot tougher to beat a team that second go around, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think
like,
that's stupid,
like that part.
Especially when the rankings are based off. Is it a combination of computers and opinions? I don't know.
I feel
but
like it's a mix.
It's an arbitrary 4 that
Yeah.
is getting picked. It used to be 2. At least it got bumped up to 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this arbitrary 4. Like the difference between the team ranked 4 versus 5, 6 is like, man, all 3 of these teams are 12-1 or 11-1,
right?
And you're going off of like who had the better loss or better win. This is better. It's just win your conference you're in, and then if you had a really good season, you could still get in at large. I think it's perfect.
And like I said, for us, I guess technically we're a mid-major right now. For us mid-majors out here, we like it because it gives opportunity.
Yeah, because that would be even harder for JMU.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're undefeated, it's just hard because I don't know if you're ever going to cross
even
the
an
top
undefeated.
4
I'm
threshold.
gonna say even
you might be in the 7 or 8.
Undefeated JMU out of the Sun Belt. At best, you're gonna get a 12th ranking, 15 ranking. Like I don't think you ever flirt with any of that. I just think of even with UCF and what they had. It's like, man, they never flirted with that type.
Right.
But now this can give you that ability because you don't have to try to justify a Sunbelt team being ranked ahead of a 1-loss SEC team. Now it's like, nah, man, y'all all out here. We can all figure that thing out because that is what you deal with based on what you were just talking right there, which is very accurate. Hey, man, that loss is a better loss than this loss. It's like, man, it still was a loss. That team got a better record. Like, yeah.
And sometimes you're talking about losses that happen in week 1 and 2 when the team's so different than what it is right now.
Night and day.
Like Oregon getting smoked by Georgia in week 1.
Yeah.
They're a different team. They've gotten so much better as the season gone on. So are we going to really hold that one against them like that hard? I like this way so much better.
Yeah.